Welcoming all of you to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Lila Purushottam Prabhuji. Prabhuji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 22 chapter, 24th verse onwards. Just I will speak a few words about Prabhuji. Seasoned veteran in Krishna consciousness, one of the greatest veterans who has been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 35 years, is our speaker, Dr. Lila Purushottam Prabhuji. He is a proactive preacher in IIT Kanpur. His tireless, enthusiastic and sincere efforts have brought many to Krishna consciousness. Presently, he is a professor in IIT Mumbai and also a director of Gurukul Vrindavan. He is also running many projects that are conducive in promoting sadhana bhakti. He is also the former president of ISKCON Kanpur. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Yes, Vardhana Mataji. Yes, I am hearing.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll hand out the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Vardhana Mataji, and thank all the devotees who have joined. You have really honored me, giving me this opportunity to speak on Bhagavatam. Should I do little kirtan? Is that fine?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Janabhava Nivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janabhava
Yasadanandana Rajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari
Yamuna Tera Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
మీరు మాట్లాడే వ్యక్తి మీ కాల్ ని హోల్డ్ లో పెట్టారు. దయచేసి లైన్ లో వేచి ఉండండి. आप जिस व्यक्ति से
Hare Rama
Rama Rama Rama Hare Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai
Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacacharya Stotra Tatra Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namaacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Go Pramanande Hari Hari Go. Thank you very much. Everybody is wake up early morning. It is said that morning time Brahma Muhurta must be used in remembering, chanting, glorifying Krishna. So I thank Vardhana Mataji and all of you to give me this opportunity to remember Krishna. In India, this is Sandhya. Your morning Sandhya, we have evening Sandhya. And all three Sandhyas we are supposed to remember Krishna. So let us read the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22. Prithu Maharaj meeting with the Kumaras, text 24. Ahimsaya paramahamsya charya.
Ahimsaya paramahamsya charya.
Nritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna.
Nritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna.
Emair kamair niyamaishapya nindaya.
Yamair kamair niyamaischapi anindaya.
Nirihaya dvanda titishaya cha.
Nirihaya dvandva titikshaya cha.
Ahimsaya paramahamsya charaya.
Ahimsaya paramahamsya charaya.
Nritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna.
Nritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna.
Yamair kamair niyamaishapya nindaya. Nirihaya dvanda titishaya cha.
Nirihaya dvanda titishaya cha.
Ahimsaya paramahamsya charyaya.
Ahimsaya paramahamsya charya.
Nritya mukunda charitagriya sidhuna.
Nritya mukunda charitagraya sidhuna.
Yamair kamair niyamaishapya nindaya. Nirihaya dvanda titishaya cha.
Nirihaya dvandva titikshaya cha.
Ahimsaya.
Ahimsaya, by non-violence.
Charyaya.
Paramahamsa charaya.
By following in the footsteps of great acharyas.
By following in the footsteps of great acharyas.
Nritya. By remembering.
Nritya, by remembering. Mukunda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Acharita agriya.
Acharita agraya.
Simply preaching his activities.
Simply preaching his activities.
Sidhuna.
Sidhuna.
Yamai. By following regulative principles.
By following regulative principles.
Akamaye.
Akamaye.
without material desires.
without material desire.
Niyamaye,
Niyamai,
by strictly following the rules and regulations.
by strictly following
Cha, also.
Cha, also.
Api,
Happy,
certainly.
certainly.
Anindaya,
Anindaya,
without blaspheming.
without blasphemy.
Nirihaya,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
living
sorry to interrupt, but can you read and can everybody else is on mute? Because so much noise is coming on. Some people are talking in the house, something else. So everybody could hear that. So can you please mute your phone? Only Prabhuji will speak.
I hope everybody would be able to follow so that everybody can listen. So, thank you again. Dvanda, duality, titikshaya, by tolerance, cha, and. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent, must follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, must always remember the nectar of pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, must follow the regulative principles without material desires, and while following the regulative principles should not blaspheme others. A devotee should lead a very simple life and not be disturbed by the dualities of opposing elements. He should learn to tolerate them. Purport: the devotees are actually saintly persons or sadhus. The first qualification of a sadhu or a devotee is ahimsa, or non-violence. Persons interested in the path of devotional service or in going back home, back to Godhead, must first practice ahimsa, or non-violence. A sadhu is described as titikshava karunikaha, Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 21st verse. A devotee should be tolerant and should be very much compassionate towards others. For example, if he suffers personal injury, he should tolerate it. But if someone else suffers injury, the devotee need not tolerate it. The whole world is full of violence, and a devotee's first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. A devotee is the friend not only of human society, but of all living entities. For he sees all living entities as sons of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not claim himself to the only Son of God and allow others to be killed, thinking that they have no soul. This kind of philosophy is never advocated by a pure devotee of the Lord. Suhruda sarvadehina. A true devotee is the friend of all living entities. Krishna claims in Bhagavad Gita to be the father of all species of living entities. Consequently, the devotee of Krishna is always a friend of all. This is called ahimsa. Such non-violence can be practiced only when we follow in the footsteps of great acharya. Therefore, according to our Vaishnava philosophy, we have to follow great acharyas of the 4 sampradayas or disciplic successions. Trying to advance in spiritual life outside the disciplic succession is simply ludicrous. It is said, therefore, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. One who follows the disciplic succession of acharyas knows things as they are. Chandogya Upanishad 6.14.2. Tad vijnanartham sa gurum evabhigachet. In order to understand the transcendental science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master. Mundaka Upanishada 1.2.12. The word smrutya is very important in spiritual life. Smrutya means remembering Krishna always. Life should be molded in such a way that one cannot remain alone without thinking of Krishna. We should live in Krishna so that while eating, sleeping, walking and working, we remain only in Krishna. Our Krishna Consciousness Society recommends that we arrange our living so that we can remember Krishna. In our ISKCON society, the devotees, while engaging in making spiritual sky incense, are also hearing about the glories of Krishna or his devotees. The Shastra recommends Smartabhyaha Satatam Vishnuhu. Lord Vishnu should be remembered always, constantly. Vismartabhya na jatuchit. Vishnu should never be forgotten. That is the spiritual way of life. Smrutya. This remembrance of the Lord can be continued if we hear about Him constantly. It is therefore recommended in this verse, Mukunda Charitangri Sidhuna. Sidhu means nectar. Is there some issue? To hear about Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or similar authentic literature is to live in Krishna consciousness. Such concentration in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by persons who are strictly following the rules and regulatory principles. We have recommended in our Krishna conscious movement that a devotee chant 16 rounds on beats daily and follow the regulatory principles. That will help the devotee be fixed in his spiritual advancement in life. It is also stated in this verse that one can advance by controlling the senses. Yamai. By controlling the senses, one can become Swami or Goswami. One who is therefore enjoying this super title, Swami or Goswami, must be very strict in controlling his senses. Indeed, he must be master of his senses. This is possible when one does not desire any material sense gratification. If by chance the senses want to work independently, he must control them. If we simply practice avoiding material sense gratification, controlling the senses is automatically achieved. Another important point mentioned in this connection is anindaya. We should not criticize others' methods of religion. There are different types of religious systems operating under different qualities of material nature. Those operating in the mode of ignorance and passion cannot be as perfect as that system in the mode of goodness. In Bhagavad Gita, everything has been divided into 3 qualitative divisions. Therefore, religious systems are similarly categorized. When people are mostly under mode of passion and ignorance, their system of religion will be of the same quality. A devotee, instead of criticizing such systems, will encourage the followers to stick to their principles so that gradually they can come to the platform of religion in goodness. Simply by criticizing them, a devotee's mind will be agitated. Thus a devotee should tolerate and learn to stop agitation. Another feature of the devotee is nirihaya, simple living. Niriha means gentle, meek or simple. A devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate a materialistic person. plain living and high thinking are recommended for a devotee. He should accept only so much as he needs to keep the material body fit for the execution of devotional service. He should not eat or sleep more than is required, simply eating for living and not living for eating. Simply sleeping only 6 to 7 hours a day are principles to be followed by devotees. As long as body is there, it is subjected to the influence of climatic changes, disease, and natural disturbances, the threefold miseries of material existence. We cannot avoid them. Sometimes we receive letters from neophyte devotees questioning why they have fallen sick. Although pursuing Krishna consciousness, they should learn from this verse that they have to become tolerant. Dvanda titikshaya. This is the world of duality. One should not think that because he has fallen sick, he has fallen from Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness can continue without impediment from any material opposition. Lord Sri Krishna therefore advises in Bhagavad Gita 2.14, Tams titikhyasva bharata. My dear Arjuna, please try to tolerate all these disturbances. Be fixed in your Krishna conscious activities. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namin. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I thank all devotees who have assembled in the early morning hours in the United States of America. I feel very privileged to be able to speak on this topic of Krishna, and in fact I feel privileged that I am engaged in the devotional service by all of you. This topic that we are talking, this is a conversation between Kumaras, Sanata Kumara, and other three Kumaras as well. But Sanata Kumara is speaking now, and he is speaking to Maharaja Prithu. Maharaja Prithu was born to Bena, who is a very cruel king, and he was killed by the Brahmanas. And Brahmanas had so much of power that they could remove the sin from the body of Bena, and from the body of Bena, which was absolutely purified, they gave to the kingdom a rightful heir in the form of Maharaj Prithu. When Maharaj Prithu performed great sacrifice, great personalities all over the universe, they assembled in his kingdom, in his assembly. And he addressed them in a befitting manner as he glorified Krishna. Our parampara, any bona fide Guru Sishya parampara, namely Brahma Madhava Gaudiya parampara, Sri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Kumara Sampradaya, all of us, we believe in one tattva. That tattva is only Krishna independently exist. He is the only truth. Mataha parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. So that is the scientific basis by which we operate. If this basis is denied or rejected or neglected, any of these attributes that were discussed in this verse would make no meaning, because here some of the attributes that we discussed, ahimsa, paramahamsa charya, smritya, mukunda charita, yamai, akamai, niyamai, and anindaya, nirihaya, dvanda titishya. All these wonderful qualities, even if one practices, but he has no attachment to Krishna, then everything is only srama eva hi kevalam. Why? Because the ultimate master, Krishna, is supposed to be pleased. If Krishna is not pleased, all our effort or endeavors are srama eva hi kevalam. That is why in second canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami is saying, Srunvatam sukatha Krishna, punya sravana kirtana, hrudyantastha hi abhadrani, vidhunoti suhrut satam. We are supposed to remember Krishna. Why Krishna? This tattva is very important. We are all tiny souls, but the soul proper is covered by oceanic ignorance. Mind, intelligence, false ego. This subtle body is carrying me from time immemorial, from one body to another body. And over top of this subtle body, there is gross body consisting of 5 space: earth, water, air, fire, and ether. Each of these space carry a specific information like smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. So this it is a very precarious situation for us, because most of the time we situate ourselves in mode of nature, 3 modes of material nature. That is mode of ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. And being situated in 3 modes, we are like a leaf that is being carried by unpredictable wind. The wind speed sometimes becomes very high, sometimes normal, sometimes standstill, and the leaf is floating in that wind according to the whims of the wind. Similarly, prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartam aham iti manyate. So all our actions are actually taking place by the interaction of these 3 modes of material nature. The soul is a passive passenger in this, in this chariot, which is, the body is compared to a chariot in which the soul is a helpless passenger. It is sleeping. Why it is sleeping? Because from time immemorial, I have been associating with forgetfulness of Krishna. I do everything that will forget me about Krishna. You see, sometimes people ask me, what is truth? And it is a very difficult question to answer, what is truth? But in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto itself, the first verse itself, first canto, first verse, the truth has been adequately defined by the compiler of Bhagavatam, that is Srila Vyasadeva. So there he says that janmadi yasya ataha itaratas charthesu abhigya surat. So if you look at here, truth is the basis. Truth is that which must be the basis for creation, maintenance or sustenance and destruction. Janma adi asya. Millions of universes are being created and they are being sustained and ultimately they are being destroyed. And truth is the ultimate basis of these three actions. Janma adi asya. And then itaratas charthesu avijñā. Directly, indirectly, he is cognizant of entire space and time. Nowadays in modern, because of the advance of technology and science and technology, people are trying to collect data from literally everything. So there is a kind of dream that we will be able to collect all the data from everywhere and we'll use that data to be able to understand the creation properly. But unfortunately, I personally believe, I'm also a researcher since last 25 years, and I can say all these attempts will fail, just like the attempt of Ravana to build a ladder, material ladder to heavenly planets. But truth is he who is cognizant of all space and all time. And then he says, Vyasadeva says, okay, we can find personalities to whom we can ascribe janmadi yasyataha itaratas charthesu abhigya itaratas anvayat charthesu abhigya, that is indirectly, directly, because Lord Shiva even says to Durvasa, when Durvasa was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra because of his offense to Ambarisha Maharaja, and Durvasa wanted shelter of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva said, my dear son, please flee from this Kailasa hill. I will not give you the visa now. You have done a great offense. You see that I am Trikalagya, and like me there are other 12 Trikalagya, like Narada, Asuri. He took many names, and all of them, they are Trikalagya. But they are still subjected to the influence of illusory energy. So Lord Shiva is accepting that Lord Shiva is the best in the entire creation. And he says he is subjected to illusory energy of the Lord. So that's why finally Vyasdev adds Surat, absolutely independent. So only when Krishna, at truth, is that which is absolutely independent, that is truth. That which can exist independently, that is truth. I have told many times this experience of mine, and this experience is that 4 or 5 years back, we were doing Ananta Sesa Sthapana in our land, Gurukula land. We have now built a new Gurukula campus, and Bhaktivedanta Gurukula students are now studying in the new campus, which is 15 kilometers, not 15, around 12 kilometers from the current Krishna Balram temple of Vrindavan. So when there was a cabinet minister who came as a chief guest, and we have many great Vaishnavas like His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Panchagauda Prabhu, and so many other people who were present there. And as Ananta Sesa Sthapana was continuing, hymns were being recited, I was giving brick one by one to all the dignitaries who were placing these bricks around Ananta Sesa. And slowly I am seeing that Ananta Sesa is getting covered, and the final brick when I gave to one of the dignitaries here, and as he was about to give, I felt as if I am feeling suffocated, because personally I felt as if I have choked Ananta Sesa. And but from that state of despair, suddenly it occurred to me, Ananta Sesa is actually truth. He is independent. He can sustain anywhere, in any situation. He can live in fire, he can live without fire. He can live in water, he can live without water. He can live in space, he can live outside space. So he is absolutely independent. He doesn't require anything to be existing. So he exists completely independently. So that is the definition of the truth. And that is the ultimate definition. And we have been, even in science, truth is very much a subject within science. People are trying to ask this question, what is the basic building block of this universe? Means when they ask this question, finally they are asking the question, what is truth? Okay, and what is basic building block of this universe? Means from what original substance this universe was made up of. Right. So I was hearing one of the great physicists, he was giving a big talk to hundreds of big scientists, and this was a celebrated talk. And there he was telling that in the beginning of the 20th century we started teaching our children that the elements of the periodic table are truth, like hydrogen, helium, and so forth. And after further research they could recognize these are all white lies. That means he accepted that we were teaching our children white lies, that hydrogen, helium, these are not basic building block of the universe. In fact, before I heard him, by our deliberation we had understood that hydrogen and helium, the way the scientists are presenting, they do not have independent existence, hence cannot be truth. Okay. So this is something by simple deliberation we can recognize, and I will explain a little later. Let me just, I will take a minute to complete what he wanted to say. And then he said that after we taught like this, later we taught our children the basic building block of the universe is an electron and two quarks, that is one neutron and proton. This is an atom, right? So atom is the basis of this the basis of this universe. That means atom is a truth. That means if I can catch the atom, that means I know the truth. And the professor David Tang, he said that later we realized after further research, this is also white lies. That means we are teaching another 50-60 years our children white lies that atom is the basis of this universe. And then he started speculating and said, we now believe the basic building block of the universe is the field. Whether it is quantum field or that field doesn't matter, but he said a field. I am pretty sure after 20 years or 30 years someone will say that again we were telling white lies to our children. So that is why here the Kumaras, they are telling that we must accept the truth. Paramahansya Charyaya, that is the authority is what they have said. So Vyasadeva is saying Krishna is the absolute truth. Not only Vyasadeva, Narada, Ashita, Devala, Arjuna, Kunti, 12 Mahajanas headed by Lord Shiva, Brahma, Bhishma, all the Acharyas unequivocally they have declared that Krishna is the absolute truth. And Krishna himself is declaring in Bhagavad Gita, Mataha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. There is no superior truth than Krishna. He is the ultimate. So, unless truth becomes concomitant factor in the way of my life, and Krishna says in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Tasmat sarvesu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyasya mayarpita manobuddhir mam evaishyasi asamsaya. So, Krishna himself is saying to Arjuna that always, sarvesu kalesu, mam anusmara yudhyasya. Because Arjuna is a Kshatriya, so he must fight. This is again in this entire discussion, the instructions of the Kumaras to Prithu Kumaras are telling that we must worship Krishna according to Varna and Ashrama. Right? So, the Varna of Arjuna is Kshatriya, and Ashrama of Arjuna is householder. As a householder, Arjuna must learn how to give charity. And as a Kshatriya, he must learn how to give protection to the innocent, including the animals, birds, aquatics, and plants, not only human beings. So this is called occupational duty. But how one must perform occupational duty? Krishna himself is telling, Ma manusmara, first you must do your occupational duty for the pleasure of Krishna. Samsidher hari toshanam. samsidhir ataha pungsa dvija shrestha varna shrama vibhagasaha. So, sonusitasya dharmasya samsidhir haritoshan. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna that according to your varna, you are a Kshatriya, you must fight. But before you fight, you must engage in fighting on behalf of Krishna. So Arjuna must fight on behalf of Krishna. In our international society, we have many wonderful administrators, many wonderful businessmen, many purely Brahminical people. In fact, Krishna consciousness must be practiced by all four varnas. It is not that Krishna consciousness is only a licensed dharma for only those who are living in the temple or those who are only sannyasis or brahmacharis. No. Krishna consciousness is a medicine for the entirety of humanity. So, this idea that first truth must be accepted as it is by following the footsteps, Mahajana yena gatasa pantha, by following the footsteps of Mahajana, we must accept the truth. And once we know, because Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, we are all wondering by the influence of three modes of material nature among 8.4 million species. Trillions of lives we have already taken. Trillions of lives is waiting for us. Every action of ours is creating many bodies in the future. So being aware of this, we must first pray, because human form of life is meant to completely dedicate to go back to Godhead. I was hearing a lecture today by Prabhupada and he was saying that nobody will be happy wherever you go within this universe. Like most of the Indians, they would like to go to America. But Prabhupada is saying, whether you go, forget about America, you go to Indra's planet. You may go to Alkapuri. You may go to Alkapuri, is the place of treasurer of demigod Kubera, or Indra's capital. You may go to Brahma's planet. And Prabhupada is saying, nowhere you can be happy. One will be happy only when we transcend this material space and time and go back to Godhead. That means we attain the kingdom of Krishna. Mam upetyatu kauntaya punarjanma na vidyate. So Prabhupada is saying, and that is our natural state. And to attain that natural state, we must work very hard. And how we should work hard? We must engage in Krishna conscious activity according to Varna and Ashrama. I will give you a simple example. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was so strict with those who are sannyasis, like Chota Haridas. He made a silly mistake by approaching a lonely lady for alms. And Mahaprabhu banished him. Whereas Mahaprabhu celebrated the birthday of the children born to householder devotees. He was so liberal with householder, but so strict with sannyasi. That means specific ashram, you have certain license. Another ashram, you don't have that license. So according to Varna and according to ashrama, we must be engaged in our activity, because to be within this material world, we have to be pragmatic and practical. But while doing so, our priority should be always Krishna consciousness. And in this verse it says, ahimsaya, we must practice non-violence. And Prabhupada tells non-violence doesn't mean only violence, non-violence against humankind. No, non-violence against everyone. The plants, the jungles, forests, hills, rivers, birds, animals, all of them are being exploited by us. I'll tell you, I don't know whether some of you know this or not. Recently, United Nations used around some 90 or around some good number of scientists in a research, and they have written a research paper, and this research paper says unless the world goes vegetarian, this world will not survive. I met one Professor Richard Alamy in a recent conference in Iros in Macau. So while discussing with him, I was telling Indian culture, because we conducted a conference here in Delhi, and I told that how everyone, I made them to stand up and chant some slokas from our literature. And then I was telling that Indian way of life is vegetarianism. And then he said that his son has become vegetarian, and he wanted his father also to become vegetarian. And after some argument, his son said, "Don't worry, time is coming where you will be forced to become vegetarian." So the idea here is what I am telling Prabhupada more than 50 years ago. He preached so strongly in all over the world, saying or strongly speaking against organized slaughterhouses. And now with so much of science and technology, the best intellectuals are coming with the same conclusion, that violence against any living entity is condemned. Ahimsaya. Then Paramahamsa Charyaya. So whatever the authorities, Paramahamsas, our own founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, whatever he has told us, in fact, the Bhaktivedanta purports are the most non-violent teachings. Once we embrace the Bhaktivedanta purports, we will naturally become non-violent. So following in their footsteps, Paramahamsa Charya, Smritya Mukunda Charita. So Mukunda Charita, Krishna Katha, Smritya, by remembering, right? This just we finished Damodar month, and we were reading all the pastimes that happened in Gokul, in Vrindavan, that 11 years of wonderful sweet pastimes of Krishna. They're so nectarine. Every year, every Damodar month, we read it, we remember it, and again we read it. It looks newer and newer, sweeter and sweeter. So, Mukunda Charita Smritya. Yamair, by following regulative principles, Yama means regulative principle. Okami, giving up all kind of material desires. So, and then Anindaya, Prabhupada is giving very nice example. There are many religions all over the world, and we have no business to criticize any one of them, because trying to criticize any one of them will only disturb the mind of devotees. Those who are in mode of ignorance, they will worship in the mode of ignorance. Those who are in mode of passion, they will worship in mode of passion. And they are in mode of goodness, they will worship in mode of goodness. We have to recognize this. Our Puranas are also categorized in 3 modes. 18 principal Puranas, 6 in mode of goodness, 6 in mode of passion, and 6 in mode of goodness. But Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amala Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. Anybody who has become only free from envy, he will derive the benefit from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. That means the highest level of devotees, they will eternally relish the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this idea that we have to perfect our life, Siddhi. Siddhi means perfection. Human life is not given for free. Like, just like, somebody is caught doing some illicit activities, let's say a thief, or somebody has done some kind of gotala, means some kind of scandal. We have in India, we see that, and suddenly once that is found, then that person's passport is cancelled. He is told that you must show your face to the police every week. This is freedom immediately, because an investigation goes against him, and simultaneously his freedom is curtailed. He cannot go anywhere. Every week he has to go to the police. If that can happen in a mundane matter, what to speak of spiritual matter? Because only human form of life is meant for spiritual perfection. Siddhi. Athatho Brahma Jigyasa. This human form of life is meant for Siddhi. Human form of life is not given for free. We cannot take it for granted. Durlabha manava janama satsange taroho evava sindhure. Satsange. We must utilize our human form of life for perfection. If we have neglected or misused our human form of life, then this body will be taken away. Our freedom will be curtailed, just like Narada curtailed the freedom of Manigriva and Nalakubara and put them into the bodies of twin Arjuna trees. Similarly, suddenly, any moment, this body can be taken away. Our so-called flowery words, jugglery of words, our erudite scholarship, nothing will come to help if we have not dedicated our life for perfection, for Siddhi. Human life is meant for perfection. If we utilize human life for any other purpose, we will not be forgiven. We have to be very clear about it. Durlabha manava janama. This life is very rare. We should not take it for granted. In Kali Yuga, nobody lives more than 50-60 years. And hence, from very childhood, we must practice Krishna consciousness. There is nothing in this world beyond Krishna. Everything, anything you see around, is a transformation of Krishna's energy. Krishna's energy is divine. Daivi esi gunamai mama maya durapteya mamevahi prapadyante mayametam tarantite. So Krishna says, no, this is today's Prabhupada lecture, he was explaining very nicely. Mastani sarvabhutani na chaham tesu avasthita. So, Krishna is saying that all beings are in me, but I am not in them. What is the meaning of that? Because we do not want Krishna. We are situated in Krishna, in Krishna's energy. But Krishna is not within me. Why? Because I don't want him. I don't want him. So, his own energy, divine energy, acts an illusory way. It's Krishna, but it can make us forgetful of Krishna. That is the beauty or magnanimity of Krishna. If we love Krishna, our life is very successful. But if we don't want, Krishna says, so be it. He facilitates. He facilitates. So that's why, whether it is earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego, anything we see around, it's transformation of Krishna's energy. They exist only because of Krishna. They are all situated in Krishna. This is Krishna's energy transformed. So that is why, when you see anything, if we are anointed with love for Krishna, we see through everything only Krishna. But when we want to enjoy, separate from Krishna, then we see, this is my bungalow, this is my car, this is my family, I am American, I am Indian, I am a woman, I am a male, and so many designations I create immediately because I lose track of Krishna. So that is why it is very important for us to keep Krishna in the center of our life and then act according to our nature, okay, according to our varna, according to our ashrama. The whole world must be brought into the ambience of Krishna consciousness. And great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he has given us wonderful formula, wonderful society, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. We are all together under that umbrella, one umbrella where the entire universe can be one. And if we serve Krishna in this way, following the footsteps of Kumaras, following the footsteps of Lord Shiva, Lakshmi, Brahma, and all great acharyas, our life will be surely perfected. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vardhana Mataji, I am done. Any question you would have? Any session for question answer?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for your wonderful class, Prabhu. It was so enlightening. Thank you, Prabhu. If anybody have any questions or realization, please go ahead.
Yeah, please give me your comment, your realization. I'll be very happy to hear it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Hare
This is
Krishna.
Damodar Anand Das from Bloomington, Illinois.
Damodar Anand Prabhu ki jai ho.
Prabhuji, aapki jai ho. Prabhuji, such a wonderful and enlightening class. Really, really very thankful to you for your time and your effort. Prabhuji, I do little bit of preaching myself, and the question that I have is that you said we should not be criticizing any other religion, which is a
Right.
basic principle in our parampara that is understood. But sometimes I wonder, and I sometimes speak, that in the month of Kartika and also in the month of Margshish, we celebrate
Yes.
many festivals, but very difficult to bring devotees to the temple. But you'll see many people will like to celebrate festivals like Halloween, where they'll buy hundreds of dollars of candy and give it out as a prasadam. to people dressed up in demonic dresses. Or when, we have some function, we had a session where children could take a picture with Hanumanji.
Right.
Very few people turned up, but you will see, go in the malls and see all these children sitting in the lap of Santa Claus and taking pictures, and the whole family, and wearing those red and green clothes. So, without knowing what is the purpose or the idea behind those festivals, so is it wrong to say something about that, or what is your opinion on that?
No, we don't have to say anything about such congregations. Rather, we should vigorously preach. We should distribute a lot of prasadam. We should conduct a lot of Harinam Sankirtan. We should celebrate Jagannath Rath Yatra festival in our important streets. And that way, we should create our mass base as well. So it is better focusing on positivity than negativity. But I agree, when we speak philosophy, sometimes we establish Bhagavad philosophy as the best over other philosophies. But that has to be done with proper understanding, with proper etiquette, with proper humility. But we must do it. But I don't think that we should go out and talk about what's happening, because this is Kali Yuga, Prabhuji. This is Kali Yuga, and Kali Purusha is in full charge. The whole atmosphere has been surcharged with the four sinful activities: illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling everywhere. So that is the situation. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful upon this age. He says, simply spread the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Sankirtan on the streets, Jagannath Rath Yatra on the streets, mass scale prasadam distribution. These are the ways where we should. In fact, our acharyas always invented newer and newer form of celebrations. And more celebrations we do, more people will come. We know already on many of our sannyasis, they do large scale festivities all over the world. And similar way, we should find other methods also, innovative methods. There is no need to think or see what people are doing with Halloween or any other. Even you know that how Deepavali in India has been so much adulterated through crackers and this and that, and people have really forgotten that is the day when Lord Ram was greeted by Ayodhyavasis, or Narakasura was killed by Lord Krishna. So these are, or Krishna was bound by Mother Yashoda. So nobody remembers that. But our duty is to take this message as much as possible, and we should leave it to Krishna how Krishna reciprocates with us. We should always remain very humble when we do these activities, because whenever we do any service to Krishna, if we have any arrogance, normally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't reciprocate. So that is why any service, any preaching activity, anything we do, we have to do by seeking the absolute mercy of Guru and Krishna, and with proper humility. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Anjana Gopika Devidasi from Lubbock. Prabhuji, I have one question. You were telling, after you were giving the example of the professor, and then he was propagating different kind of theory, and then he was regretting we are teaching the mistaken theory, and then this is the right, and again 30 years after they will come, another person will come, and this is the mistaken theory we are teaching our kids, this is like that. And then as we are trying to be in Krishna consciousness for our kids, Prabhu, how we can convince. I can see when we send, especially in US and now even India also, is a kind of theory is propagating a lot and making convince to the kids. Actually, the very, especially I can see in the US, in the very slow poison. Means they don't force, but then they make them to convince such a way. This is the theory we have paid up, to the kids. It's a very dangerous, Prabhu. And then how we can convince our kids? Means this is not the theory, because we send our kids in the school, and then they are very much convinced, because they give so much of love and then encouragement in the school. They are ready to accept, even they are not willing to hear the parents, because their teaching way is very perfect, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Anjana Gopika Mataji, for your nice question. Let me tell you the premise of science. One of the things that scientists, the proper scientists who are really working hard to know the truth, they are very well aware that whatever they have is only relative, it is not absolute. And any convinced scientist, he knows that this is how we will make progress, and again we'll refine ourselves and will bring another new theory, and that is how the scientific progress is happening. So this particular thing, if we teach our children, they will understand. Actually, what is happening, that those who are very little knowledge about science and the scientific views, they propagate these things as truth. But the top echelon of the scientific community, they know whatever they have is only a relative truth. It is not absolute truth. So but that is what that is the premise in which the scientific community operate, and I think personally that is the most honest way to operate as far as scientific inquiries within the ambit of university is concerned. So, but to address the overall concern, is that Srila Prabhupada wanted us to establish Krishna consciousness is a science. Prabhupada never said Krishna consciousness is a religion or faith. He absolutely decried. Again and again he said Krishna consciousness is not a faith. Krishna consciousness is a science, and we have to establish. And personally, I have been thinking about it for the last 25 years. And sometime I'm 100% sure Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will empower someone to establish Krishna consciousness as science. So we have to be little patient about that. But as far as the children are concerned, I can tell you, I'm running Bhaktivedanta Gurukula, and whenever I meet my children in Bhaktivedanta Gurukula, and I ask them what is the best thing that you are enjoying in Gurukul, they will always invariably say attending Mangalarati. So, in fact, when they are children, small kids, until 8th standard, they will never miss Mangalarati. Only when the teenage comes, they go to 9th standard, 10th standard, they get perturbed, and their erratic behavior starts. That's where we have to be careful how to handle them. But as far as children are concerned, they easily memorize verses. We have children in our Gurukul who memorize all 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. So it will be good to teach our children these verses, Brahma Samhita, Bhagavad Gita, if they have memorized, at some point of their life, this memory will come and strike them. Even if they have been deviated by, let us say, scientific mispreaching or ill preaching, they will come back to the right path. So we don't have to worry so much. We should harness the best when they are up to 8th standard. That's my experience from my school. Up to 8th standard, so that means almost 12 to 13 year old, any Krishna conscious children can be trained very nicely about Krishna conscious way of life, and they have no objection, because only after that they have their own ability, or they use their brain to think whether science is correct or not. But so let us utilize positively the first 13 years of their life, and I'm pretty sure they will be all right. Just memorizing, participating in Sankirtan, at some point of time they will surely come to Krishna consciousness.
Thank you so much. It's a beautiful answer. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your association in the call, Prabhu.
Okay. Any further questions? Do you have time further, Bardhana Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranams. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very powerful, inspiring lecture. Thank you for your valuable time with us. So I wanted to ask you this about, since you are in this research field, and we know how Swarup Damodar Maharaj did a wonderful thing in 1996, that he got all the scientific community together, and he did, I don't know much about him, but I know that he did a very valuable service in establishing Krishna consciousness as a science among scientific community. Would you like to shed some light on that, Prabhuji?
I am not very much, yes, Prabhupada had a very high hope about, from Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, and I'm pretty sure that he put all his effort to establish Bhaktivedanta Institute. Some of the pioneering work that was expected from Bhaktivedanta Institute is to establish Krishna consciousness as a science. So, as far as Maharaj is concerned, his approach was to make friendship with the scientists instead of criticizing them, and bringing them into the to make them acquainted with the Gaudiya Vedanta philosophy, and that was something very wonderful. There are some reports some scientists who came from University of Berkeley, stayed in Bhaktivedanta Institute in Mumbai, and he wrote an essay, Gaudiya Vaishnava Vedanta. But I think that time has come now. We have to seriously work on Krishna consciousness as a science, because this is such a deeper topic. To be able to establish Krishna consciousness as science, we have to establish how whatever object we are studying within science, we cannot study them unless we see each object in relation to their source. So that is first step, that the relation among objects brings in semantics, and that relationship has to be studied in detail, and ultimately it has to be established that there is an absolute relationship, and that absolute relationship is Krishna consciousness. So there is that, as we go in deep, and particularly the third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 25 to 28, the teachings of Kapila, Lord Kapila to Devahuti. And then also the Sankhya philosophy has been also given in 2nd canto, it is given in 5th canto, it is given in 11th canto by personally Krishna to Uddhava. So all these things have to be scrutinizingly studied, and I'm pretty sure many devotees are working, and I'm pretty sure sooner or later, one of the good scientists I know is also Rasaraj Prabhu, who also worked in Bhaktivedanta Institute, and I'm pretty sure if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is interested, such a science, actually we need a science now, because the current science is so impersonalist, it's full of impersonalism, and more important, the current science is so syntactic that because of this we do not have a symbiotic relationship among the living entities, the global warming, and so many other issues have come up because of the current scientific understanding. So we need a science that will that is necessary to save the human race and as well as other race. So in that sense, if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants, I'm pretty sure a science will come. And anyway, Prabhupada said that Krishna consciousness must be established as a science. This is an instruction to His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami and all those who worked in Bhaktivedanta Institute.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. What service you are doing in this room is very, very appreciative by all of us. It's a very valuable service for us and many generations to come. Please give us your association more, and next time when you speak, you can guide us on how to establish Krishna consciousness as a science. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Lalitangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, I have a small question. Maybe I am talking as a person whom you are very well aware of it. He is one of the mentors for us during our college days, because of whom we understood what is Prabhupada, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all. But 2 years back when I went to Hyderabad, I surprised when he told he's completely out of ISKCON and is pursuing science, and through science he wants to find out God. But when we are in the college days, he used to tell science is not the right way to understand. And he brought us to you during Vrindavan Yatra also. So how we visualize this one, like when we face such a type of situation, who are really like helped us to groom, but when we see people are saying we preached without knowing what we are preaching much, or like without a self-realization, and now we are believing something different.
That is why Acharya Upasanam is the prime thing. Every day early morning we offer prayer to Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru Charana Padma. So Acharya Upasanam, if you don't know, then we cannot be situated in bhakti. It is said that vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadeshyanti te jnanam jnaninam tato rasinam. So remaining true to our Acharya, and within ISKCON, we cannot violate the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. For me, the Bhaktivedanta purports are like life air. And I am pretty sure that all the genuine followers within ISKCON, they have sustained their life by this very basic principle. So, I empathize with your situation, but don't have to worry. You associate with the devotees who are within ISKCON, who are very well connected to Srila Prabhupada, and our movement will continue based on the strength of Bhaktivedanta purports, whether it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita. So all these wonderful books, they will remain. Prabhupada said they will remain for next 10,000 years. So we don't have to worry. This message will not be lost. So as long as we are with the Bani of Acharya, and Prabhupada has given this literature in a way we can understand with a modern perspective. Prabhupada is very liberal. You have to understand this. In spreading Krishna consciousness, he was very liberal. And while he is very liberal in spreading Krishna consciousness, embracing everyone, bringing them onto the fold of Krishna consciousness, he was also very strict in terms of maintaining the standards, practices, principles, and ontology, particularly the tattva. We cannot. I have seen there are many people, they speak very nicely, but they are not right in terms of tattva. And I have been preaching for last 25 years, and I have seen there are, I preach to mostly young people. They come, they practice for sometime 3 years, 4 years, and they leave. So, and we should not be bewildered by that. We should continue we are doing service not because, we have to create a fan following. We are doing this service for my own benefit. I want to go back to Godhead. Just like when you prepare for a competition or for an entrance exam, you are not worried about how others are doing. You are worried how much you are doing. Okay. So similarly, we have to worry. Am I obedient and faithful and trustworthy to Guru Parampara? Prabhupada said in this purport that without Guru Parampara, without being connected to Guru Parampara, if we are practicing Krishna consciousness, that is utpata, that is actually a disturbance. So these things will happen in our life, but you don't have to worry so much. I pray that you will remain with Prabhupada's teaching. You will make nice friendship with the devotees and continue our spiritual life. Please chant Hare Krishna with sincerity and pray to Krishna. Pray to Krishna that he will always help you. And Krishna is very kind. He always helps to sincere seekers of truth. So be assured of it. Krishna is very kind to those who are very sincere. He will never fail. That's why his name is Achyuta. He is infallible. I hope this has answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Do you have time for one more? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, I was asking if you had time for one more question.
Yeah, I have, please.
Okay, I'm referring to your use of the words faith versus science in reference to Krishna consciousness. And so my understanding is that we call it a science because you can apply a process and get predictable results from doing so.
Right.
And you don't like to use the word faith for this because I think maybe by faith you're saying it's not just a matter of believing or not believing, right?
No, actually, Prabhupada said, you hear many lectures of Prabhupada, he says Krishna consciousness is not a faith. In fact, science is a faith. I can prove it. Science is a faith, but Krishna consciousness is not a faith. It is
okay,
science.
so the use of the word faith means...
faith means some sort of belief.
Yeah, that's
some
what I was
sort of
saying.
conviction.
Belief or not belief. You know, you believe or you don't
So
believe.
if you look at the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna delineates what is soul and what is not soul, what is divine and what is not divine. So there he says all kind of convictions, life symptoms, belief, faith, these are not divine.
No, wait, I didn't understand that part.
Let me read the 13th chapter. Just give me a moment.
Which scripture are you referring to now?
Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, you see here, this is 6 and 7, 13.6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So here he says, the 5 great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be field of activities and its interaction. That means these are not divine, they are not part of soul. So just to give you a little idea, you see, when we say consciousness, we have 3 categories. Consciousness. The first category is the consciousness related to matter, absolute matter. Okay, and then the bodily consciousness, and then the divine consciousness. So it is very easy to differentiate between matter that is inert and the bodily matter, bodily consciousness, because we can, all the time when we were preaching in the beginning, we used to tell, okay, what is the difference between matter and spirit? Spirit has willing, feeling, desiring, loving, whereas inert matter doesn't have. But actually, I have those propensity, right? In a bodily consciousness, I will, I feel, but they are not part of the divinity. So that's why we have to make sure that which is an emergence of bodily consciousness will always remain as a faith. And the modern science is an emergence of bodily consciousness. So why Krishna consciousness is a science? Because its source is not bodily consciousness. Its source is Apaurushaya, and that is why it is a science. There is no faith here. Faith is not involved. It is a mercy that is descending from the top to down in a Guru Sishya Parampara. Once you have it, you have it. If that grace is within you, it's a science, it's no more faith. Anybody who has Krishna consciousness as a science within him, even if the whole world may be shattered, there can be an absolute pralaya, still the person will remain absolutely unperturbed. Like Bharat Maharaj, he remained unperturbed in front of those dacoits who were ready to chop his head. Or so many examples we see. Naradji, when he lost his mother when he was a very young person. So Krishna consciousness is science, but how is that a science? To be able to establish, we have to be really empowered by Krishna. So everybody is trying. I pray that someone should bring it, because Prabhupada again and again told Krishna consciousness is not a faith. It's absolutely science.
Okay, Babu, I need to back up a lot. Okay, so you said that there's three types of consciousness. One where we're aware of inanimate objects, right? That's just inert matter.
Right.
Another
because
type
you
of
must, in Bhagavad Sankhya, if you see, the consciousness varies from absolutely gross to absolutely subtle. So when consciousness goes to very gross, then the object manifests as inert, and when consciousness becomes subtler and subtler and subtler, then they manifest in the form of aquatics, plants, insects, and different bodies, including human body. And Prabhupada says that what is the difference between human body and all other bodies is that in human body we can experience God consciousness, we can experience Krishna consciousness. The facility is given in the human body to experience Krishna consciousness, and that is why we are penalized. In an animal body, most likely they are not given that facility. They cannot experience divine consciousness. So this is Prabhupada's take, and in fact all the literature also says that. Okay, yes, please, Mataji, please continue.
Okay, yeah, so the point I think I was missing was when you were saying what is possible to experience when somebody is on a bodily conscious level, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to when they're in divine consciousness.
Right.
I think you're saying when you're in bodily consciousness, that's the platform of just faith. Did you say like that? When a person
Can you again repeat your last sentence?
Yeah, when you said that when a person is in bodily consciousness, right?
Right.
Then at that level, they can only, that's where you have, it's like a matter of faith. Whereas, and when a person is in divine consciousness, it's no longer faith because they're having experience.
Exactly.
Something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
But you
say that, just to, before I hear your further, let me again differentiate here, because this topic I didn't tell, this is a complete topic in itself, how to differentiate between a living body and an inanimate body. Okay, so there is a distinction between a living body and inanimate body in terms of consciousness, and science even has not gone to the level of consciousness that is manifested in living body. Okay, so this is something that we have to understand. So that's why the current science is simply a faith. Current science is not really a science in that matter. So you can now ask your question.
Yeah, actually, is your last line that I want to pursue. You said that the reason why science is only a faith is because they have not come to the platform where they even, I guess, acknowledge the existence of the soul.
Exactly.
And so I'm just fuzzy about this point. Why is it that if you have not come to the platform of the soul, why does that make any knowledge you have a matter of faith? This is what I'm having trouble with,
Okay. So let me answer that question. That's a very good question. You say that what is faith? A person marries to a kind of faith when he sees some kind of profit in return. Okay.
He sees some benefit for himself.
Yeah. Otherwise, there is no point. That's it. Otherwise, and that's why people change from one form of faith to another form based on. And
what's in it for themselves.
This faith is, that's why, this, please read carefully also the purport Prabhupada gives 13.6 and 7, where Krishna is completely rejecting life symptoms. You are experiencing happiness, you are experiencing distress, you are experiencing all emotions within us, your intellectual thought, these convictions. So all these, they are part of field of activities within the mundane realm. And when we say faith means not eternal. Faith is a temporary thing. Faith is never eternal. And
I just feel like I need to get a clearer definition of faith, because we use this word differently in different contexts, and so the way you're using it in this class is a little bit confusing for me.
Because you say, in our preaching, Krishna conscious preaching, because people always bombarded with us that any religion is a faith, and that's why we used to have an argument. Even science is also a faith, but so I fully agree that
it's often used in a positive way, like we have to have faith in the scriptures, for example.
Right.
And so the way it's being used today.
All that I'm saying is that anything related to Krishna will assume the absolute nature. So the faith within the mundane sphere is a variable thing. It just changes, right?
Yes.
So when we say faith, and the same faith, when we bring towards Krishna, that becomes transcendental. That's what Krishna says. Anything you connect to Krishna assumes its spiritual nature. So that faith doesn't become faith anymore, and that's why it's a science, because ultimately Krishna would surely embrace us. So in Krishna consciousness, and in one particular lecture Prabhupada was telling, these Brajvasis, they hardly cared who is Krishna. They had unconditional love for Krishna. And he said, this is what love. This is what is science. Because when we have that, if we have that, we are real. Because Krishna is in charge of us. We are real. Our existence is dependent on Krishna. We are not independently existing. We are a spiritual spark. It has value only in connection with Krishna. So our existence is completely annihilated when we separate from Krishna. So in that sense, sorry Mataji for the confusion, but I was talking in terms of the definition of truth, and you can again hear Prabhupada's lectures in relation to Bhaktivedanta, his direction to Bhaktivedanta Institute, what are the thing, and there Prabhupada categorically says that Krishna consciousness is science. It is not a faith. So,
I think it's clear once you made the distinction between mundane faith and the divine faith that you get when you have experiences on the platform of the soul. Once you made the distinction of the two types of faith, then it got clearer for me.
Right, correct.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Gaurangi Mataji. Thank you so much. And I thank all of you for engaging me. And let's pray to Krishna that we all together grow in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the wonderful.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Experience नहीं है
Thank you. Next sincere obeisances to Prabhuji and all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya
सर्वत्र कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ऑल भक्ति संघ members की जय।